Welcome to Tour Buds Live. This is actually going to be a big show for us. This is a fantastic show. I'm really looking forward to it. I am your host Andy. I am with my tour bud Derek G. What's up, Derek?
What's up? I'm excited, Andy. Very excited.
Derek, I'm having a tough time hearing you, buddy.
Sorry, how about now? Is that any better?
Yeah, be better. Do not go away from that microphone.
My bad.
We have a special guest in a moment. We will bring him on. His name is Dan Lomeli. He is the drummer for Incendiary, and he's a really great person for doing this for us. And first things first, I want to understand something. Are you okay? You live in Jersey. There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, we're doing good. Just casual drone flyovers and missing nuclear material, and but we're chilling. We're chilling.
So that's
Got a
good.
haircut today. I feel good.
Well, we're feeling good today. This is Tour Buds. This is a spinoff for those of you who don't know us, which is most of you, which is every single one of you. This is a spinoff of a show that we have coming out next year, where we go to shows and we interview the band. We get live footage. We have a grand old time. And then in the meantime, we're doing this and just getting into people's lives and their stories. And we're meeting with some of the best minds and talents in music. And I'm very happy to be doing this with you, Derek G.
I'm very happy as well, Andy.
Because Derek and I have known each other. We met on tour 15 years ago. And he was in Hell Within. I was in a band called Letter to the Exiles. And we just clicked and we became best buds ever since. And we've owned a management company, and now we're doing this. Management is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's not that fun. It's not that much.
It's not fun at all. Actually, especially when you have artists who it's hard to motivate people sometimes.
It is. You can't want it more than the artist, and sometimes that happens, and you got to move on.
Why is that?
I don't know. We've done it before, so we kind of know what it takes a little bit, to our scale. And if you haven't done it, it's hard to motivate to the level.
Yeah. Well, let's bring our guest on with no further ado. Dan Lomeli. What's up, Dan?
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
How the heck are you, Dan? Let me look at you real quick. Let me bring you into the center here because I need to get a really good look at you. You are looking, your beard looks fantastic right now.
Oh, thanks.
Let me ask you, what do you think? Some people call you the John Stamos of hardcore. What do you say to that?
First time hearing that. Thanks. It's pretty cool.
You are the John Stamos, the devilishly good-looking John Stamos of hardcore. I think that's accurate. I agree with that. I've talked. First of all, are you married?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like not. That's like a touchy subject.
No, not at all. We've been married for 5 years, been together for 15 total, and our son just turned 4 the beginning of the month, December 2nd.
Hell yeah.
Okay. The reason why I ask is I know. See, I've known you've been at this game for a very long time. I know that.
Yeah.
You've been touring for a long time, and you are. I know that the ladies love you. You are one of the most pronoun established coxmen in the game, where people, I know that people just love you. It's just if the face, maybe the schwaz, I don't know what it is. But what did it take? What did it take for you to just settle down? You're like the George Clooney of hardcore. What did it take? What did it take you to settle down?
Well, I don't know.
Having fun.
I met my wife Sarah like right shortly after joining Incendiary. Maybe like a year or two after. So I don't know. It never really that was the weird thing too. It was all like local stuff. It was never from touring, and I never really extensively toured in that aspect of it. Like I did a couple like 2-week-long ones there. When I was in A Love for Enemies, I did that full month. But those are like the rarities. Everything else has been like long weekends. So it's always just like moving and shaking kind of thing.
And so she just captivated your heart. You're like, no more Clooney for me.
I mean, we met, through, like, a mutual friend of ours at a birthday party, and she thought the jokes that I made were funny, and started talking, and that was it. She pulled me out of the way of a car pulling out of a space in a parking lot the first time we had lunch together, and I was like, "Alright, yeah." And, like, that week, I was telling everyone, it's like, "Oh, yeah, that's the last one," like,
And but was she a fan or you just knew her? Does she like
and
heavy music at
not
all?
not interested in hardcore at all, like, not really, and we had, like, a ton of mutual friends that were into music, but, like, me and her never really crossed paths because, like, she would never, like, go to shows that much, but we were all friends with people who went to shows and stuff, so it was funny.
I've got one of those wives too. Not a big fan of the
Yeah.
metal and hardcore scene, but it works out.
Yeah, yeah, she likes it. I mean, at the time, I don't think she would like I said, like, I didn't recognize her from shows or, like, out and stuff like that, um, but, I mean, she likes heavy music and adjacent. I got her into, Acacia Strain, so that was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
But, we our circles cross on a bunch of bands, so, we have that.
Everyone that I've talked to, I've done some homework before this interview. I Everyone talks
Cool.
about you with such high praise and high regard.
Oh,
You are like the tour guy. You are the guy who just the yes man. You light up
thanks.
the room. You are a quick-witted person. You're funny, you're charming. I feel like there's a lot of that. Like I feel like because of that quality, bands would want to have you even more so than just if you're talented. You know what I mean? I think just being a good
Yeah.
person for the band and being a yes man in a band is huge. Like, do you think that quality has is one of the reasons why you've been able to do this for so long
Yeah,
successfully?
I mean, yeah, I always had, like a standard to set of myself from very, very early on, when I was getting involved in playing in bands, like, when I was, like, 19, 20 years old and stuff like that. I was like, "Just play in as many bands as you can with as many different people as you can." Because that's gonna make you really well-rounded, and you get used to working with people and different strengths of personalities, as we all know exist within music, You deal
Mhm.
with varying strengths of personalities and how to handle that and how to be okay with, like, people who don't take well to pushback. It's like, "Hey, I think this part could be a little bit better if we went like this instead of that." Some people might get their feelings hurt, where other people might take it creatively and want to collaborate, see you as a bigger piece of the collaborative puzzle. But I think it just all comes down to being able to get along with people and not I mean, especially yourself, not take yourself completely that seriously, and just know that, like, you're just here to make music, that's it.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. It's hard to be in a band because it's like being married but with multiple other people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have
So
sometimes
many
there's
schedules. So many schedules. And the older
always.
you get, the more schedules people have. So, it becomes harder and harder to plan things, as the people who your bandmates are go through different phases of life at different times. Um, it just it becomes that. It's like you hit the nail on the head. It's like you're in a relationship with 5 people instead of just 1.
Yeah, and with Incendiary, what is your, like, role behind the scenes? I know there's gotta be people who are like the chief, and then you have people laid back, kind of are you an art guy? I know you do video, but what is, like,
Mhm.
your other role besides drumming?
I mean, like, I just took it upon myself to be like the video photography archivist, like, of stuff that we do. It's something that I've always been interested in doing, and it was just, I guess, practice for being able to do it more professionally eventually. Um, so I guess historian, Chillmaster Deluxe, you know, no, I mean, like, we all pretty much handle stuff on the fly. Brendan does a lot of the logistical planning for, like, hotels and stuff like that when we get show offers. Usually locks down, like, a hotel or an Airbnb in the area that's, somehow miraculously almost within walking distance every time. So that's, yeah, pretty impressive to have someone on the team with that sort of ability.
Would you say he's
Um
the band dad?
Yeah, oh, without a doubt, yeah,
Yeah,
he has a very fatherly role, um, and, and like I said, the rest of us, like, pick up things here and there. I would say, like, Brendan and, Brian Audley handle a lot of the day-to-day stuff before we had, like, additional people helping us out. They handled a majority of it, but, like, when we're out, I mean, we're all just it's like vacation when we go and play a show because, we're all working all the time. So we don't have we're using our vacation time to do band stuff, so we usually pad out a couple of days of the show, before and after, and we're all just, we just enjoy hanging out together.
that's beautiful.
Do you
It's so hard to have.
do you guys? I know you guys don't like tour constantly because of that, the work
Mhm.
and all that stuff. What I mean, it seems like lately you guys are kind of catching another extra little burst here with like the Lamb of God stuff, uh,
Uh-huh.
just hardcore in general, like sort of making a push,
Oh,
like
yeah,
all
for
together,
sure.
with Knocked Loose and Turnstile and all those guys. And uh, is that kind of changing the way you guys are operating at this point? Like, because there's more stuff coming through the pipeline.
Oh, I would say 1,000%, and, you know, because of our limited availability and scheduling and stuff like that, there's only so much that we can do, so we try to, like, maximize our time and make the most of the the time and travel time available, base stuff around holiday weekends if possible, base everything around a weekend. We haven't It's very rare that we play a show on a Sunday because that's usually like a travel back day. So we're not like crunching time Sunday night to Monday morning if we all got to get back to work on Monday morning. Um, so in regards to that, there has been a lot more. It's like everything is just like the volume's turned up by a factor of 10 where we've been around for long enough that, we were met like when TUI was like the biggest. I mean, they're still absolutely enormous, but when they were like peaking like 2010s, like 700 person room was just like, oh, that's crazy, like, and a fest was like 1,000 people. It's like, oh, that's crazy. And now it's just like 500 is almost the norm, and fests are like 2,000 and up. And everything has just kind of and like I said, amplified by like a factor of 10, and it's a really crazy thing to kinda, like, see happen, in your life cycle.
Yeah, is
Why do
that
you think? Like it is crazy.
yeah, is it hard to stay like disciplined to you guys' kind of like touring style? Like I'd imagine there's a lot more offers coming through and enticing things like that are
Oh,
like,
yeah, I mean, it's, like,
I miss
ton
this.
of really cool stuff, but we just can't, like, it's just not possible,
Yeah,
but it never was possible, so it's not like, "Oh, we had it, and now we can't do it anymore." It was always, we could never do it, and everything is a gift. Everything is, like, cool, like, everything's like a bonus, like, we
yeah.
shouldn't be able to do this, and
You
we get
guys
to
get to
do
do
this.
like the
It's
coolest
it's cool.
weekenders on the planet.
Yeah, 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 like, I've always called it the hardcore army reserve, where it's 2 weekends a month and 1 week a year, like, because that's pretty much our touring schedule. Like, it just
That's
worked out that way. We did, like, little things here and there, and then, like, "Alright, we're gonna use, like, 5 vacation days and go to Florida," or, like, do 6 days in Europe or something like that. We'll do 1 big thing a year, and like, it's like, "Okay, cool, that'll be a big thing," and then we'll do a bunch of little things, or we could do, like, more medium things, like, we have to, like, balance. It's a very delicate balancing act for sure.
But like, let me ask you, like, Incendiaries is pretty much a business at this point, right? I mean, like, you guys crush. I mean,
Well, I and y
wouldn't you want to kind of up that just for just financial reasons?
um, so there's a great quote that I would like to, use for this. A friend of mine, John Kane, who used to play in Straight from the Path, um, he left the band just as they were right after Villains, right?
Mhm.
And they were, like, skyrocketing at that point, like, touring full time, all this stuff. But John was also going to school. He was getting his master's. He wanted to be a professor, teacher. And Brian had asked him, was like, or someone had asked him, "That's crazy that you would just, like," someone from the music team was like, "That's crazy you would just, like, up and leave when your band's, like, taking off like that. That's crazy." He's just like, I can't put my financial future and my family's financial future in the hands of what a 20-year-old thinks of me. And, like, I was like, "Yeah, that's, like, a huge fucking risk." And unless you're, like, absolute tour dog and at a, like, a, like, maybe, like, a Lamb of God level, where you're getting, I could live on this money and this is all I have to do. And maybe I don't have to be gone 9 months of the year. I could be gone 5 months of the year instead of 9 because heavy music is having that uptick, that big up push in popularity right now. You can cut your tour schedule down and still kind of like make enough money, but it's too fickle for us at this stage in our life to kind of like put all of our eggs in that basket.
Yeah, especially with the family and a kid, and that's yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
that's why.
It's not like we're delivering pizzas and then we could just call Tony up and be like, "Hey, I'm back after I quit for a month. Do you need a delivery guy?" He's like, "Yeah, I like you. Come back and deliver pizzas." It's like, "Hey, I'm responsible for teams of people, or the
Right.
work I have has deadlines. I can't just like stop it."
Yeah,
Like
but
it's
Yep.
stuff like
at the same point though, like you play in front of thousands of people and then you come back and then you're just an ordinary asshole. That's gotta
yeah.
like how does that affect you? That has to be I've never had that level of like people liking my band, right? And then you're something to someone. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
but
It
like
does.
you know what I mean? And then like you go back and then you're just like this regular dude.
And someone cuts me in front of the line in the post office and tells me to suck their dick. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it, but there's a lot that goes into it. A perfect example was we did 10 days in Japan with, First Blood. We played Blood X Fest. It was crazy. It was absolutely surreal, amazing experience. Shout out Koba for bringing us there and taking us around. He's like the G for real. Um, and it was incredible. It was an absolutely incredible experience. Got to see things and go to places and experience things in Japan that, even regular tourists, even people who probably live there would probably never see or not do. And then I came back, and then the following weekend, I played to 25 people at Shakers in, Oakdale, right, with my
Yeah.
other band. I had just as good of it, like, I was just chilling all the time, like, I was just like, "This is good, and also this is good." They're good for different reasons. There's a better good than others, there's a higher ranking good, but overall, we're still above bad here. So, what do I care about, like, also, like, you know the my uncle said to me, "You've traveled to more places than anybody I know, and I know people who own private jets." And I said, "Yeah, I know." Like, and it's all because I play bonehead music for people with low IQs. It's crazy. Like, and I know so many people who are bad at spelling and can't name all 50 states, who have been to countries they can't pronounce. It's absolutely amazing that this happens. And then there's actual people who are working their entire lives just to go to Florida twice a year and barely leave their zip code, telling me I'm an asshole. That I don't care. I don't care,
That's a
dude.
great
I don't
perspective.
care.
That's a great
Like,
perspective. Oh my
I've been
god.
like, I'm partying with a bunch of strangers who have become lifelong friends with me on the roof of a Holiday Inn. So the very top of a really tall tree right there. It was really cool. Most regular people wouldn't get it. It's the cheat code. Like, I get to do this. You get to go to TGI Fridays and have frozen mudslides and ultimate, you know, chicken poppers.
What about
Sounds good.
Akon in the trailer?
Oh yeah, smack that. That was fun. Kidnapping Akon back then. It's just like
Take
you
me
just
through that.
create
Take me through kidnapping
the
Akon.
Akon thing. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That we had, like, a playlist going or something, and we were all singing "Smack That." It was a huge song at the time, Akon. And then we were all just doing, like, the Akon impression, and then the joke was, like, Akon came to a show and we threw him in the trailer, and then everything was just, like, with the Akon voice. That was just, like, a thing for, like, a week.
That's the thing about touring is that you develop these jokes that last a lifetime, and
Yeah,
you see people, and it's like you never left, and
right.
you tell the same stories, but for some reason it hits just as hard every single time.
Yeah.
What
You
about
come up
what
with
about the
you come up with
topless
funny
Waffle
stuff.
House?
The what?
The topless Waffle House.
Topless Waffle House.
Do you remember this? I'm being told to tell
Topless
to bring up stories to you.
Waffle House. Topless Waffle House. I do not know a topless Waffle House.
What
Topless
about the time you hung out with Alex from A Day to Remember from the
Wa
rafters in Oklahoma?
Oh, we had, like, the hoist thing because we were staying it was, like they had some sorta, like, big production thing, or there was, like, a hoist in the center of the it was either, like, a church or, like, some sort of place where they had shows that had, like, a higher ceiling, and we found the harness, and we were just hooked into the harness and just, like, flying each other up. I think we also smoked cigars and gambled in there. That was pretty cool too. 'Cause they were like, "You don't have a place to stay, we'll just leave the key to the venue in the mailbox, and you guys could sleep in there if you have, like, sleeping bags." So I was like, "Alright, cool." And we just, like, gambled and had cigars. As soon as the liquor store opened down the road, we walked there, grabbed a bunch of booze, and started hanging out, and then they had a barbecue that day, I think. It was a while ago, this is almost 20 years ago, my man, so, like,
I
you
know.
know,
I
I got
know.
I got I got the Cliff Notes, I got the bits and pieces, but a lot of that stuff, got deleted to make space for new
Well,
stuff.
but you've also played in different types of, like, heavy music, not just
Mhm.
hardcore, but, like, how would you differentiate hardcore as opposed to, like, metal or metalcore? Because there is people, especially hardcore fans, they're very adamant about hardcore. You know what I mean? And what is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
to you?
yeah.
What is that?
Um,
Because I don't hate it. I don't hate on
yeah.
it, but I don't also don't understand it.
No, I mean, there's okay, so, like, I guess, like, it's really tough to put into words because it's changed so much and evolved over time with the incorporation of different styles and people who grew up to listening to different kinds of music. I always viewed hardcore as more of, like, a way you carry yourself and a way your band carries themselves as a unit. Also tied to, like, aggressive music, obviously, like, you can't have, like, a hardcore flute trio. It's not gonna work. It's there's a certain type of, thing that goes part and parcel with it. It's like the 4 elements to hip hop. It's, breakdancing, scratching, graffiti, and MCs. Like, there's,
Yeah.
like or, like, pornography, like, I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it.
Oh, yeah.
It's that kind of thing, and, like, people who are familiar and versed and kind of, like, immersed in, I guess, or have been immersed in hardcore for a while, or have been around it a while, either as, played in a band, active participant, fan, or whatever, as usually you wind up contributing to the scene in at some point in your life because it becomes important to you to preserve the scene, like, it's kind of a cheesy cliche that it all goes back to that, but, like, I mean, there was a time where there wasn't as big of a music scene in your local town as there was now. If you're seeing this and there's a scene in your town, there's probably no scene in your town. Um, it was few and far between that hardcore shows happened. And, I mean, going back to pre-internet times, you had to make calls from payphones to make sure shows were still going on and directions were printed out on flyers because it wasn't like Nassau Coliseum or Roseland. It was a VFW hall somewhere 8 towns outside of a major city. Like, it's a bar that you wouldn't take your parents to. It was stuff like that where it was like 150 people in a packed out club that would be a goth club on Saturday nights on a Friday when they were doing nothing there. That's what it was. So there's this whole kind of, like, working towards preserving the thing that got you here kind of, like, feeling. And if you don't I mean, like, if I don't get that feeling from a band, I really wouldn't consider it, like, the people the people
So
in
you're
it.
saying, like,
There's
it's about, like, authenticity.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And you can definitely tell who the tourists are and, like, the people who are, gonna be doing something else as soon as something else becomes popular. Like, you kinda sniff that out. Um, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not so much like "Oh, I've seen you at shows for 10 years." I mean, it helps, but, like, it's just like, "Oh, I get it." Like, right off the bat, sometimes you're just like, "I get it." And then, like, you see him live, it's like, "Oh, yeah, I really get it." And then sometimes you talk to him, it's just like, "Oh, no, fuck you." But then other times it's just like, see him and you talk to him, and it's just like, "Yeah, you get it." And it's like it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Hardcore has always intrigued me. I mean, one time I was in a metalcore band touring, and we ended up at a venue in Arizona. I'm sure you played it, where it has like a big venue and then a small venue and downstairs. And we pulled up, and then we realized that we had a show the same day in the same place with Terror and Madball.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was like, "Oh, shit, this is gonna suck for us."
Yeah,
And then
kill the
they
draw.
chose so we drew, like, I don't know, like, 200 people, which is at the time not like, it was actually a good draw, but they said they got preference, so they got the small room and they pack way more people. So like they
Uh-huh.
had this intense, crazy show, and we played this
That's
massive venue with in front of like 200 people. It was so pathetic, but it was like
uh,
it was so ridiculous. But I love that hardcore thing where it's like like you guys would like hardcore bands would just rather be packed in a like sardines, and
yeah,
it's about the
yeah.
energy. It's not even about like sonically if it sounds that good. It's just about the how it makes you feel.
Yeah, and there's also that kind of, like, there isn't a line between, like, performer and fan kinda thing where that it's not like, "I'm over here and you're over there." Like, I
We know
never really felt that way myself. Where it's just like, oh, like, perfect example, a couple years ago, we played Starland, with
New
Acacia
Jersey.
Strain, and yeah, and I love Acacia Strain. We've been lucky enough to play with them a lot and
nice.
become friends with them over the years and stuff like that, so that, it's crazy that stuff like that happens. But I'm in the crowd, like, moshing to Acacia Strain, and I just played. And I'm moshing with people that just moshed to me. So there's, and, if no one recognizes me, it's fine. If a couple of people are like, "Hey, you play drums for Incendiary." "Yeah, hey, what's going on, man?" I'll just talk to anybody for however long they wanna chat for, but mostly people, just walk by me. I don't care. It's fine. And it's cool because it's just like, yeah, I'm just in there, like, I'm getting kicked in the ribs and tripping over people and climbing over people and getting climbed on just like everyone else.
That's
We're
cool.
all here for the same thing.
Yeah, that's so cool of you to actually like. It's not even like it's you're not putting on theater. It's just like you are having fun. You're having a good time,
Yeah.
and it doesn't fucking matter. That's awesome. And I think there's a lot of people in bands that just kind of would rather go fuck off in their van, and
Ah,
which happens a lot. You know what I mean?
mhm.
But you're out there like I'm gonna fucking dance it up for a Casey strain,
But look, I
and
mean, if you just wanna, like, sometimes you just don't wanna be around people. I get it. It's
yeah,
fine. And also, like, being around people all the time is not for everybody. There's a lot of weirdos who play music, not just hardcore, like, all music in general, mostly weirdos. They're gonna make the good stuff because they have actual pain and trauma to, like, pull from, not just like, "This is what I want everyone to hear that I think sounds like this other stuff that everyone likes." It's just like, "Hey, this is how I feel about things, and this is the music that I'm making about the way I feel about things." So, like, I get it. There's, like, people who are just like, "I'm gonna shake every hand," and some people just like, "I'm gonna put on sunglasses and hide. We're all here."
hey, which one do you fall under typically on tour? We had this conversation last week where it's like, it seems like even though you guys are like not like you guys are at a great place, you're doing well, you know, um, you don't necessarily need to talk to fans, right? You don't need to, but yet you do. Because I was saying to our last guest, like when you get to that point, sometimes it's a business move to have to talk to people. I love people myself, but it's still a move for your band. Like you want to be it's part of the gig. But even
Mhm.
now, is that still something that you guys do, or is it like less? You just have like people at a merch table, just like, all right, I'm gonna go do my thing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure me and everyone else have the same kind of, like, we're all very accessible, like, after we're done playing. If you see us around, if you see us out and you come up and approach us and talk to us or whatever, we would I don't think any of us would be like, "Yeah, okay, whatever," and just, like, peace out. Um, I know me personally, I'm a talker, so, like, when we're done playing, I'll grab, like, my used sticks, anything else I could find to hand out to people. I'll go hand it out to people in the front row. I'll grab all the set lists from everyone else, hand it out to whoever I want, whoever wants it, and I'll just talk to anybody who's there, like, I'll sit on the edge of the stage and talk to people and give people hugs, and you talk to people, and you find out why they're there, and some
Dude,
people, they're just there because they like your band. I met this one guy who was just like, 4 years ago, I was living in a car, I was on meth, and I was losing my kids, and now I have another healthy kid, and I'm back with my wife, and, I'm stronger than I ever have been, and listening to your music and other types of music like you helped me get through a really bad point in my life, and I just wanted to say thank you. It's just like, "Cool, thank you." Like, it's if you don't take that time out to just go talk to people, you won't find this stuff out, and it's cool. It's really I don't know, it's a really cool bonus to playing this music with my friends is, like, being able to, like, inspire other people.
Yeah, it's
If you
fulfilling on both sides, I guess, in that aspect, right? I mean, you take the time
Mhm.
for them, and they're, getting the same kind of stuff out of listening to what you're creating.
if
Absolutely.
anyone's listening to this and watching this right now and in the future, this take freaking note. If you're trying to be in a band and if you're trying to have people really give a shit about you, really give a shit about people because it goes a long way. It's not just about the music, it's about the vibes, it's about being a good person. Like those little acts of kindness. People that they'll remember that forever.
At
Like
least
I
for me,
remember
well, it was a couple of years at least.
at least a
But
couple
no,
of
there I
years.
mean,
One.
there's, like, there's this one girl that I've seen, like, front row every show, I've given her a bunch of stuff, and, at the holiday show, she was there, and I was gonna hand her the set list, I was like, "No, you got too much already," and I gave it to someone else, and, like, that kind of thing where it was just like, "Oh, you remember me from this," and, like, we always, like, chat for, like, just a few seconds and stuff like that, um but, it's like stuff like that, like, you start to see the same people, especially, playing New York, New Jersey, around the area. A lot of these people fly out to fests too, so, like, you'll see people from New York at a fest in Florida or a fest in California because it's, like, stacked and it's, like, a fun thing, from people from New York to do is, travel out there. Um, so it's just always an interesting thing, and it's something I've always enjoyed doing.
Have you gotten to meet you mentioned a Casey strain earlier. I assume that they had some influence on you growing up and they've been around for a very, very long time. But have you gotten to meet certain people that have really influenced you through the band? And it's like, and I think you can almost like look at yourself as like their peer at this point. And how does that feel if so?
Yeah, it's always nuts. It's always nuts, and, like, I mean, just a couple of examples, when we were in Japan, we played Blood X. After the Burial played after us, the bass player, huge fan of Incendiary, so he's just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you guys are playing the show, blah, 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 blah." Holy cow, that's nuts. Um, Becoming friends with Comeback Kid, like, buds, like friends with Comeback Kid. Crazy, they asked us to play the 10-year anniversary show at Sandoz Party House that they did. That's, like, nuts, who else? Well, I mean, obviously, the Lamb of God thing is absolutely crazy. Randy, essentially texting us and saying, "Do you wanna do this show in Vegas after Sick New World?" It's like, you, us, Kubla Khan, House of Blues, 3 bands, kick ass. And then, like, us running into him at Sick New World and him being like, "Oh, what's up, guys?" Like, totally stoked. His girl's from Mastic. So we were like, "Holy shit, our merch guy's from Mastic." It was just like, "Damn." So, like, it was just really, really funny, stuff like that. I would say that one of the biggest ones for me was the band Trial, and the singer Greg. Um, I got really, really into Trial after they had broken up, um, and then we had played a show with them, I think 2013. I think it was East Coast Tsunami, um, and they were playing. I remember we were, like, about to go on, and they were, like, bringing in merch, and he saw our table, and he came over, and he was just like, "Did you guys play yet? I wanted to see you guys, like, your guys' set today." He's like, "Singer Trial wants to check me out. This is crazy." And then we played with them at the Morgan with it was, like, us, them, Hollow Earth, and Zabalba, uh, which was probably one of the more violent shows I've ever seen at the Morgan at that time. But, I mean, the fact that we continued to play shows with them, and then we played, Rainfest with them once, and it was just crazy. It was like becoming friends with Trial wasn't something that I had ever thought was gonna happen, and here I am. I'm chatting with the singer of Trial every time I see him. It's crazy.
I think, yes, there's sometimes like do you ever take the mentality of like, all right, calm down, like I'm cool, it's all right. Like you have to almost give yourself like a pep talk, like, no, I deserve to be here. Like I'm this person's
Oh,
equal too.
never. I never think I'm supposed to be anywhere.
Oh, that's no, so no, so I don't either, but there are moments where you have to fucking fake it till you make it
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in
No,
order to
man,
be
I
like,
get it, I
okay,
get it, I get it.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, just kinda like, make yourself believe, act as if, as I always say,
Yes.
act as if,
Yeah.
like, that's how you get away with a lot of shit, you just act as if, like, walk into the hotel with, like, 12 people, act as if, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, act as if they already told you you could do this, and you're just continuing to do the things that they told you you could do.
That's beautiful.
Um,
Write that down. Act as if. Make a shirt out of it. I love it.
yeah, act as
That's interesting because I think there's a lot of people that feel that way about you, where they meet you and they have to like kind of like, all right, I got this. I'm gonna go up and like maybe like it took a lot for them to gather up the
uh,
bravery to say hello.
mhm,
It's so
that too,
interesting. I
that
think
too, that
everyone
too.
has such an interesting human thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can remember, like, my first kind of, like, brush with celebrity. There was a guy who had a public access show in, like, my township where the public access covered, and I saw him one time at the arcade. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's the guy from public access," and I'm freaking out, and, I'm just like and he was playing an arcade game, and I asked if I could hop on, and, I was like, "You got that show on TV, right?" He's like, "Yep." I was like, "Oh, I knew it." How's it going? And it was like total Chris Farley. I was like, 16. I was younger than that. I was like 14, 15. I was just losing it. And I became friends with the guy. And, like we just started like kicking it at the arcade at the mall and stuff. Um, so I always think back to that, like how I felt when I was kind of like warmly recognized by someone who I thought was famous, even though he just had a show that was on at 11 o'clock on Monday nights. Like a literal nobody, but to me, it was just like, that's the guy from fucking TV.
Yeah.
So I always try to put myself in the, like, on that, like, lack of a better term, on the other side of the guardrail, where it's just like, if I was a fan and I was, like, stoked to see someone who I was stoked to see, because I still get stoked to see people, and like beyond belief. Like we played New England Metal Fest, and I'm standing on stage for Converge, losing my shit. It's like I've seen Converge 30 times. It's a huge band for me. The whole side of my body is tattooed Converge album cover. Like this is a formative band for me. And they're over here just like, oh, could you hand me a water? Oh, sure thing, Kurt. Here's water. It's just like absolutely bananas. I don't get it, but there I am hanging out.
Yeah, you have a really cool story. Yeah, you have a great story, especially because I've known you since like the band started, and it's so interesting how you guys took off. Like, at what point did you guys just fucking blow up? And then you're going to shows. Like, I would pinch myself and be like, is this happening? Like, all of a sudden, people are coming to show, singing the lyrics, not just singing, fucking jumping on top of each other, pylons. Like that happened kind of quickly. I feel. How does
Yeah,
that
it
happen?
was.
How does that happen if you're just starting? All right, you're in the band from like
Mhm.
pretty much the get go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And and then all of a sudden, it's kind of local, and then boom, now you have people wanting you to play all over. What is that like? That feeling of starting there, and then because it's one thing if you're like if I get paid to jump in a band that's already there, but you're already there for that arc.
Yeah, it's
What's that like?
really, really crazy. The old like, I hate to woulda, coulda, shoulda, because you could do that and your life's gone. Like everything's a woulda, coulda, shoulda at some point in your life, right? But if this band started when I was 22, I would have done it full time, drop of a hat. If we were all 22 when Cost of Living came out, I would have never have been home. We would have been beating the fucking pavement, dead ass. But, you know, started the band when I was 27, almost 30. I had a regular ass job, had like apartment, had to keep the lights on, so like and Brendan was in graduate school. I was finishing up college. We were all in that like beginning of that phase of our life. And when we started the band, and then like cost of living like caught on, that was like 2016, I think. No, before that, 2013. Um, And it was like it was just really it was interestingly cool because it went from like, "Oh, we're playing like these size rooms to like these size rooms," and like more people like pardon, more people like are digging our songs and like know the lyrics and like, oh, this is becoming like the hit. And it's like you change your set list a little bit. And like, like I said before, like everything has always been a gift. Everything's just been anything that we've been able to do off of Long Island has been icing on the cake. Because we never really expected to do a whole lot. It was just like, and I didn't know anyone in the band before I joined. I knew Dan Tarrant, the original bass player. I didn't know the other dudes at all. Um, and it was just like, I finally get to play like this kind of music. I love this kind of music, and I get to play like almost the purest form of it that I've been able to play. Um, and musically, we all just really, really connected, like right at the top. And it's just been a beautiful friendship for the main four of us, the core four of us, like this whole time, 15, 16, oh, more than that, like 17 years now.
It's wild. What a
Yeah.
journey. But
Yeah.
what I'm so fascinated by people who are able to have any kind of fans in music, because especially today, maybe it's also like you came up in a good time too, because it's like so saturated. You have, with streaming and all that, it's hard to break through, and you have an algorithm now that wasn't a thing back
Uh-huh.
in the day. But
Yeah.
I'm so interested in, like, what do you think it was that made people buy into you guys?
Um, I mean, we beat the shit out of the Northeast. I mean, we played Massachusetts a ton, we played Albany a ton, we played most SUNY school cities in upstate New York a ton, Jersey, like anywhere that was like a weekend drive. We played and played and played and played. Um, and then it was just like the type of music we were playing, which was like 90s style, 90s influenced, you know, I guess metallic hardcore, if you wanted to call it anything. No one was really playing that at the time. It was all like Have Heart. Have Heart was huge
Uh-huh.
when we were first starting out, and sounded nothing like Have Heart. It was like Have Heart, Suicide File, like those kind of what's the other band? American Nightmare. Like those were like those types of bands were enormous, and we sounded nothing like any of that. So we kind like early on, we were just kind of like oh yeah, they're playing too. They got good songs. They're playing, and then like I guess that style, like our style, kind of like caught on. Like we were ground floor with that kind of thing. Um, and it did we like there was just like this kind of like big resurgence around like 2011, 2012 of hardcore in Long Island. Like a lot more venues opened up. Um, the dark ages of the beatdown venue closings was behind us. We kind of policed the criminal element out a little bit, and venues were starting to come back. And when venues come back, it's like reintroducing animals into the wild. Like the venues come back, then those venues need bands. So now there's more bands. And now there's more bands. There's more people that are into more bands. And now the people going to see those, they're gonna want to start bands with their friends. And stuff like that. Um, so
I
it
think
all kind of stems from that.
I think, like, as an outsider looking in, I think I latched on to something that you said. It was like you're playing a sound that's older, but you're new. You're kind of new. So it's like, oh, who is this new band doing some old stuff with like this new twist to it? I think that, like, you guys were like the first at that time to like bring that back, where it's like it wasn't just like the standard hardcore bands that were doing their thing. It's like it's Incendiary. Like, oh, who is this? And then two, I think it's also the passion that you guys have, that especially your singer has. I think I think it's like there's this authenticity with lyrics. The music is so passionate, but I think you could tell he lives it, not just sings about it. I think people love
Mhm.
that shit.
Yeah, I think holistically it goes hand in hand. I think the way that we write our music, um, and the style that we write in, and just the different influences that we all draw from, whether they be similar or different, the final product musically, I think is different enough, but sounds familiar enough that people could really latch onto it. And I also think Brendan's delivery is so different for the genre that it's easily recognizable. It stands out from, like you said, a potential oversaturation of artists.
For sure.
Yeah.
When you guys, you kind of mentioned a couple of times, like the beatdown era and the violence at shows. What do you find is the difference? Like when I grew up in Massachusetts, so like I grew up with
Oh,
all the
okay.
FSU and like all these
Mhm.
crazy beatdown crews. Like we'd go to the Elks Club and watch,
Blood for
Unbroken
blood
Wings
and yeah.
and Blood for Blood, and like there's ball and chains in the mosh pit, and like it got
Yeah.
to a point where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is getting to be like a bit.
Sketchy.
It's super fun, but like I feel like I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
actually
yeah.
ambulance like pretty easily.
Yeah,
What kind of
yeah,
transition have you seen like now? Like, is that that's as obviously mellowed out a bit, at least I think. Um,
yeah, so this is a very interesting topic, and I could probably do, like, 2 hours on the beatdown renaissance alone. I'm a freelance sociologist. I like studying patterns and humanity and how life repeats and different aspects of things carry over, you know, culturally, generationally. So it's like borderline anthropology stuff. And since I've been very close touching like Jane Goodall in hardcore for so long, you kind of see things. So I think the current beatdown renaissance, it's imitation without reference. It's people watching videos of Irate and Punch Your Face and, like, I mean, should be line of scrimmage. I don't think enough people talk about line of scrimmage. I might be giving away a cheat code right now, but line of scrimmage. Um, they're watching these videos of Queens, Bronx hardcore back in the day, like crazy fights and extremely violent shows in Jersey and stuff like that. And they're just parroting it in the scene now, not really getting where that came from, knowing that like everyone in this video is friends. Like there's hardly any strangers here. This is the same 40 people who go to this band's shows every time. And so you see this guy get rocked in the face, it's fine because he knows that guy. It's not someone, this is their first show and they're getting their skull fractured. Like it's like watching a dog fight, but they're not really fighting each other. They're just playing. Um, I think there's a lot lost in translation. Um, and I don't think it works the same now as it I hate to be, old man shakes fist at cloud, but I think there's something to be said in that kind of like something being lost in translation from like like the protoplasma of beatdown to the genetic iteration that it is today.
mhm. Yeah, it was an interesting time for sure.
Mhm.
For sure, it was.
Absolutely. I saw a lot of crazy stuff.
I actually grew up listening like, my father would bring me to jazz shows, like Pat Metheny and stuff like that, so I was so used
Mhm.
to
Really
sitting.
crazy praise for Pat Metheny. Holy shit,
Yeah,
that guy is
he was, like, spitting blood and shit out on people, like Yellow Jackets, kill but anyway, so it was interesting for me to then, like, start listening to hardcore and all that metal, like, it's such a different, like, no one sits. I mean, you know what, though? I love to sit. I
no,
love to
I love
sit
good
now.
shit. I'm just old. If my body didn't hurt so much, I'd be standing all the time, but, like, sitting is so cool.
I love it. I love sitting. You know what? Derek and I, sometimes we go to festivals and we get, like, the VIP packages because, like, we're we're older now, and we get to, like,
You don't have to sit on
treat
the
we
past. We can sit on an actual chair.
yeah,
Mm,
we
mhm.
could treat ourselves now. It's like, you know what? It's nice to sit.
Yeah,
We're
there's a
gonna be
couple of venues where you have a choice. You could either, like, it's just all general admission, but there are some seats, it's just like,
Yep.
"Sit
Yeah,
off. I'm gonna sit."
yeah. That's, the Palladium in Worcester. That's up in the balcony. You
Yeah,
get a
yep.
nice seat up there.
Yeah. Ah, that's a good
Are you
sit. I
what
watched Flesh God Apocalypse from up there, that was
Oh,
sick.
it's the best. If you can get up there nice and close on
Mhm.
the balcony, it's the best seat in the house.
Look at us talking about sitting right now at a show. Dan, would you be offended if people sat during Incendiary?
Um, if there
Because
was
that's a
seats
different
to
thing.
yeah, no. Well, I mean, a lot of our fans are old like us, so that's fine. Um, I'm not gonna hate on someone for sitting. It's why I hate on someone for being comfortable. Being comfortable is great, so just be comfortable. Don't sit on like, if you're on the floor, like, standing in front of the stage and you sit down while we're playing, I mean, number
And
1, that's
fucking
probably dangerous. I would advise against it. But, yeah, I don't know, that's kinda stupid. Go to the side and sit down. If you really wanna sit that bad, we'll get our merch guy, we could pull up a chair, you could go sit by our merch for a little bit. But if there's seats to be had, like, there's seats around, go sit. It's fine.
Dan, as a drummer, well, there's two
Yeah.
questions I want to ask you about this musically. Do you always have, because I always have a song in my head, or I'm always tapping. Do you,
I
is
think
that a are you, do you have that? Do you have a song in your head right now?
yeah.
You do. What is it?
Mhm. The Rhythm Is Gonna Get You by, Miami Sound Machine and Gloria Estefan.
Wow. I love that. That's your song. We're gonna have to edit that. We're gonna have to edit that in when we distribute this on YouTube later
Yeah,
on.
that's fine. It's a banger, man.
And it's just gonna be a cloud, and that's gonna be your
Oh,
that's
well,
amazing. My second part to that question and being a musician, do you ever dabble in other instruments? Do you play other instruments?
nah,
No?
just the
I
drum.
don't
I
either.
was
Sometimes I fuck with, like I fucked with the guitar and maybe a little singing, but my voice
Mhm.
is terrible. But I do feel like if you dabble in another instrument, it helps you appreciate and know your instrument more.
I
Does that
agree,
make
I
sense?
agree. Because you could kind of, like, write from both sides of the page at the same time kinda thing. You but I think I don't know, I think I just have, like, a brain thing where I could fit into the song pretty well. Could kinda see it from a guitar player's perspective, just because of the amounts of different people that I've worked closely with over the years. I think I have a pretty good handle on that, so, you know, but I do see the merit to being able to play an instrument aside from the one you do to kind of, like, round yourself out writing-wise. I mess with stuff on GarageBand, like, making tracks and beats and loops and stuff like that, like background music, but not really any real compositions.
When you guys are writing, are you just, listening to, because the drums really people don't realize how much is weighed upon you with, like, the dynamic of the song is you could do an upbeat or blast beat, or, like, what you play actually changes the whole feel of the song. And when you're writing, what are you listening to? And what makes you do one thing as opposed to the other?
Um, it's more of, it's a very collaborative effort when we write. I am so sorry. Dog is going nuts
It's
right now.
okay, man.
Loud.
This is a live show. We're doing it live. Fuck it. Okay, we'll do it live.
Yeah, but, my wife and my son just got home, so he hears them walking up the stairs.
Oh, right on.
This is loud.
Hey,
This is loud.
what's
Hey,
up,
hey.
friend? Welcome to Tour Buds Live, little pooch.
Mm. Alright, okay. Sorry, I'm just trying I am so sorry to folks at home.
I mean, you're good.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
um, okay. Um, what so where let's start. Jeez.
We were saying that,
Approaching songs as a drummer.
Oh,
oh,
like
writing.
writing itself like that. Hold on, I'm just gonna,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah, you're good.
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I do. Like, for me as the drummer, I actually like to do different, like, variations. That's why I like sometimes it's a blessing and a curse if you have no label or no deadline, like, no goal of if you have all the time in the world, you could do all of the takes and just see what works the best.
And
And
you
I think
and you have Frank to do it with.
and I have Frank to do it with. And
That's helpful.
Frank Frank gets the best takes. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows. And yeah, I think it's like I tend to try to do less actually when I'm writing, and then I build off of it when I'm really comfortable with the actual entire song, because I tend to like to start less is more, even with like heavier music, and then build into it, because I think when and drummers are interesting. I think, like, there's so many different ways of going about a song and different feel is everything.
Mm.
But I think that if you go at it too much too soon, it makes it less interesting. I think it's better to save it as a drummer.
Is that
Do you
more
agree?
like a
Yeah,
To
structure.
say like that maybe more a more complex like fill or maybe a more complex beat if I'm doing some kind of like if I'm doing something where all of my limbs are doing something different, I think it would
Sure.
be abrasive to start a song like that unless it's chill,
Yeah,
like
it's
more
it's I always try to, especially when thinking in terms of recording, keep it simple, stupid, where you don't have to, play all your craziest stuff all the time unless that's what the song calls for. Like, I always try to play to the song, not so much just, like, play for myself. Um, I think it's easy to play for yourself, and it's a lot harder to play for the song, just, like, give the song what it needs instead of, like, just proving that you could play the drums because everyone knows that you can already.
right.
Um
You
and
get
writing, we
used
usually
to. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no,
Go.
I was gonna say we usually start with just like a riff idea or a skeleton, and we build it out to 80%, and then move on to something else. And then we go back, and we know that we could either take that 80% to finished by the time we have to record, um, and, so that way we have, like it's like, "Okay, this is, like, pretty good for now," and then we just kinda, like, just sit on it. That's usually the writing style that we go with.
I like that.
That's so interesting. So
Leaving
then, and you, the last two albums, you were with Putney, right?
Yes.
And that dude is awesome too, man. Like you could actually hear the distinct difference between the albums that he does, with bands, and
Yes.
then you listen to their other albums, like, oh, that's a Will Putney album,
Mhm.
and I think that's a really cool thing. What is the process in working with him? Because it seems like he's very hands on. Is he like that with you guys?
Absolutely. He's been friends with, Justin from our, record label Closed Casket for a while. And we've kind of just, like, orbited each other for a little bit, because he's worked on records of our friends' bands and people that we know. Um and then when it came time to record, 1,000 Mile Stare, we were thinking about going to him. Conversation just happened and it worked out. It was like recording summer camp because the last couple of records, it was just like we had to drive in and then drive out, drive in and drive out. We didn't have like 2 weeks to stay at the studio, like bands get sometimes or whatever. It was just like, okay, drive in, do the drums for 3 days, and then we had to leave and then come back the next weekend and do guitars. And then everyone goes back to work Monday through Friday, and then goes back and do the other guitars, and then goes back and, like, this was the first time we were able to do everything comprehensively. It was also the first time we ever did pre-production where we had, like, the songs done. Like, we always had everything completely done. We were, like, nerds about it for recording, where it's just like, "Here's everything. If we're ready to record, here's all the songs. You hit record, we're gonna do it." This is the first time, like, we had some space where it was just like, we're not sure what we're gonna do here, or we have, like, a A-B for this ending or this bridge, like, which one, like, we're not sure which one we wanna use. And so he was able to help guide us through a couple of rough spots that we had, um, on our finished product, but we also knew it was gonna be like that, so we allowed ourselves to kind of, like, not be so strict with the writing and have to have it, like, all the way done like we did in the past. It took a little pressure off.
Do you have any say in the orchestration? Like, does the band trust you to say, I think we should put this part here?
Yeah, we all work like that when it comes to
It's
writing
all very
songs.
collaborative with you guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Usually, like, it'll be me, Audley, and Bobcat writing. We'll get, like, once we get about 5 songs in the pipe to, like, 80%, then we'll start sending them over to Brendan. Brendan's usually there while we're writing too. He's, getting the feel of the way things are gonna be laid out structure-wise. And then he starts working on lyrics, and then we're able to actually practice the songs with lyrics at rehearsals, while also writing new stuff too.
Does it ever hit you what song people latch on to more than others? Maybe you think that one song is the banger, and then it ends up being something else.
Every single time. You can't plan for it. No matter how much you think, like, "Oh, this is gonna be the part where everyone marches to, or this is gonna be the part everyone writes these lyrics down on the back of their notebook." It's always the one that you don't think. Um, and even then, it's just completely random, and,
I don't think I've ever
you
heard
know
anyone say, "Yeah, we knew." Like, not
yeah,
one
yeah,
person. I've never heard it.
not what I'd defy you to find someone who was just like, "We wrote this, we knew it was gonna be the big one," and then it was.
I think Phil Collins in the air tonight could confidently say that he knew that song was going to be
Yeah.
a banger.
Okay, fine.
Oh, yeah, no, I got you on that one, yeah.
I
But
wanna
that's
hear his mouth, though. I wanna
yeah.
hear
Oh man, I can't like I actually saw an interview with him recently and he looks ancient
Mhm.
and I ffeel terrible.
Yeah,
And it made me
old,
feel
man.
so like old, I guess, and myself. Like it was just a reminder of mortality because it's just like
Yeah.
I love Phil Collins, man. I know this is like about
Mhm.
having music, but like I think music is very special. And I think certain people like Phil Collins is kind of like brings me back to like reminds me of my father. And it's like, dude, I think it all comes music is like it's so special in that. And I think going back to touring, and I'm kind of like breaking through the fourth wall. I think a lot of people think of you or anyone in a hardcore band is just hardcore 100%. But it's like, dude, you can't just 100% listen to people yelling at you. You what like when you're on tour, when you're traveling, what are you listening to? Because it can't just be like what's your like after a show, there's no way. We had a rule on the road. After a show, no hardcore.
Yeah, yeah, that well, I mean,
rule.
that's the, usually the standing order for our shows is, like, no heavy music in between bands at all, period. Like, literally anything else. Um, and I mean, like, a song is a song, a hit is a hit, like, something that you like is just something that you like. I don't think, like, the, guilty pleasure questions because I don't believe in a guilty pleasure, I just like the stuff that I like. Um, and it's just whatever I feel like listening to, like you said, like, I'll hear a piece of a song somewhere, or I'll be thinking of a song and just wanna listen to it, and that's, like, I guess, the beauty of streaming. I don't have to carry around all these CDs anymore. I could just, like, I can make a playlist and listen to one song at a time, or, if I feel like listening to a genre. So I feel like I listen to more genre now, or, like, best of a artist rather than, like, an individual record or something like that. I like a lot of, I like, pop stuff that I grew up on, like early Madonna stuff, I like a lot. I listen to that a lot, like, after shows. Um, and I will fight this point forever. I think "Hit Me Baby One More Time" is one of the most well-written songs in existence.
It's
Those
fantastic.
those Swedish dudes knocked it out of the park, and Britney Spears' delivery is crazy.
Crushed.
The whole song from the piano break to the end is some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. Uh,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
like, so
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you just listen to, like, the way the vocals, like, the choral vocals, it's, like, 5 voices singing the actual chorus, and then she's singing the C part, and then "Still Believe" is, like, a beat off, and then "Give Me a Sign" is on. It's crazy, it's so crazy. If I listen to "Hit Me Baby One More Time," I listen to it, like, 7 times in a row, each time louder than the last, because that part just really speaks to me in a way that not a lot of things do.
Is this something you just like to listen to, or is it something that you would like to pursue also musically, like pop or any other genre?
I mean, I love just playing the drums. I think playing the drums is like
Yes,
the
yes.
the thing my brain was like supposed to be doing with the programming that it has. To quote Always Sunny, when Charlie gets behind the piano, it just makes sense. You know, drums just make sense, and in whatever capacity it is, I just love doing it, you know? I play in an '80s metal cover band. I'm doing a tryout for, like, a '90s top 40, bar/wedding band in a couple months. Um, I play in a doom band. I played in, like, a Taking Back Sunday worship band. I played in, and so many different types of music, and, as long as it feels good and I could get along with the people, you know, I could sit anywhere, man, it doesn't matter.
I think that you're unique in the sense that you're not ashamed, just like you said, you don't care about the guilty pleasure thing. I think a lot of people, especially in hardcore, if they're in a band, are kind of nervous to let people know that you might like. I think there's a lot of judgment, right? In that, like people are like, "Oh,
I
you
mean,
like this."
there absolutely is. I think it's more so the older heads than the incoming class. Um, where like if you if you were in a hardcore band or you were in the scene and you were involved in this music, you could only like this music and adjacent music. Um, but I mean, isn't all music adjacent music? If you really do think about it, like specific, I mean, hip hop and hardcore go hand in hand because they both come from the same
Totally.
kind of small venues, like borrow from each other a lot, flow wise, um, clothing style, like everything just gets traded back and forth. I think a lot between certain genres of music more so than others, but I think everyone borrows from another at some point. You know,
Yeah.
When you go ahead, Derek Arabedian.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna elaborate on the rap and hardcore thing. I mean, it's like kind of music that comes from hardship and from different areas mostly, but it's the same kind of like tough upbringing, battle through this, have to find your community to to fit in and belong and have a
right,
purpose.
Yeah,
right,
Derek
and where
loves
where where music kind of creates that community where it was lacking everywhere else.
Hmm.
hip hop is I think that's where we got the 808s from, right? For the
Hmm.
breakdowns,
For the bass drops, yeah,
the the bass drops.
blow
Hey,
it at
would
your
you
top.
exactly? Do you play with a click track?
Nah, I don't even
Really?
play with your monitors. Yeah, I just play with the stage monitor.
That's dude, that I want to compliment you because
Oh, thank you.
like I listen to I watch a lot of your, live sets and watch the audio tree live too. Dude, you are so tight. Like you're incredible, bro. Like I was like, "Oh, for sure this." Because even the stops, like it's like that is something, but maybe that's also because you guys play together for so long. It's something like spiritual. You guys know
Yeah.
what you're going to do, right?
Mhm,
You
mhm,
can't
yeah, and
expect
a lot of those songs we've played some of them for like 15 years now, you know, 10 at least 10 years, and you play these songs thousands and thousands of times. It's carved on your bones, man, like, you can't not know how to play it, and I have like a weird thing where if I played the song on the drums a couple times, I know how it goes forever, like, back to my first band, I can remember how all those songs go,
It's crazy.
so, I just got it.
dude, that is really impressive. I don't know if you're listening to this, if you don't understand, you have to, okay? Think about this. This dude is playing it perfectly. No click. I'm always playing to a click because I need this. Because I'm a fucking baby. You have that in your heart and in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I didn't even have a drum monitor. I was just playing naked with the cabs in front of me and just, like,
Dude.
uh, if the monitor goes out and I can't hear anything. So I said this to a bunch of people. I've talked about this before, but like, the times where I don't have a monitor or I can't hear what's going on, I just watch because I know what all these hands look like playing the songs and I know where he is. So as long as I can see his hands, I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I could follow along and then like I'm there. And then you just look what everyone's doing and I know what everyone's supposed to be doing at different parts of the song.
That
That's
is so cool. That's so cool. You guys have played together for so long. It's just like this. It's like otherworldly. It's like this. Like you guys are just on to. I've had moments like that, and I think it comes with time. I've had moments like that where you almost you're taken aback by like this. Oh, I can't believe we're doing this in such a way, and like especially when you do a stop, when you hit the fucking cymbal, just to choke that fucking cymbal, and everything just stops, and then you come in again perfectly. There's something about that where you take away the energy and you bring it right back. And when you nail it, and it seems like you guys always fucking nail it, like I don't know, like isn't there some like a sweet feeling to that?
It's great. It's like hitting a home run, man. It's got to be that same feeling where it's right in your strike zone. For me, it's hitting the bell. Like I'm so hard on myself about my bell hits because I mess them up so much. Even at this stage in the game, I get so nervous anytime I'm supposed to do like one specific bell hit. So like I judge my whole night by, like, the percentage of bell hits that I mess up, and if it's, like, if I get, like, a 95 or above, good, I feel great about that show. Regardless of how anything else went, I could break 3 sticks, my pedals could fall apart, snare head could break. If I hit every bell as a win.
That's really interesting. For me, dude, I think the worst thing as a drummer is the sliding bass drum. The
Uh,
sliding bass drum. If you're playing aggressive heavy music, get out of my face, dude. Help me out. Like I need a few bricks in front of that or something.
kick
However,
block,
I was just gonna
kick
say,
block,
is that what you do
yeah,
now?
yeah.
At this
I
stage, you have
so
that covered.
yeah, I got so because so many I had so many catastrophic failures over the years gear-wise, um like I have like a little bag that I bring with me, that is basically like uh, a a Swiss Army knife for things that could go wrong. So I always bring a kick block with me, and then I have like 2 smaller ones for the pedals in case they're being a pain in the neck too. I have a whole bunch of extra cymbal felts and screw-on tops because sometimes you get there and it's play school, my first hardware, and, it's like, well, now I'm set. Now I got plastics, I got washers, I got felts, I got a screw on top. I got an extra hi-hat clutch in there because that's the other thing that's always terrible no matter where you go. Um,
Always lose
you know,
those,
ex
right?
yeah, 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 extra
There's
drum
always a
tees.
gnome. Like there's a definite like gear gnome.
Yeah, yeah. I bring like extra kick drum patches because if you're at a fest and that kick drum's getting the shit beat out of it all day, and chances are it's from someone's practice space, so it's already got the shit beat out of it for a few months without a new head, and you start to see a little tear, and you're playing late in the day, and you know it's not going to last through a rigorous double bass routine. Sometimes I just slap an extra patch on there and just let her go.
Little first aid kit, drum first
Yeah,
aid kit.
yeah. Be prepared, man, because, the less time you gotta hold up the show, the more songs you get to play, and the better time everyone has. You don't lose momentum, everything's just going.
Hmm. That's great. Um, Andy, I think we lost you, bud.
My apologies.
Oh, you're back.
Hey,
Yeah. Sorry about that. I wanted to bring up you guys had your 10th anniversary holiday benefit show.
Mhm.
Can you talk about what that show means to you and how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, the holiday show, it's always been, like, the jewel in the crown of our year. It's something that we always look forward to, like, not only people in the band, but our friends and, our girlfriends who we have become our wives and our, other family members who come to these shows. It's just become like a special thing. And, shout out to AMH and, everyone who's helped us out from there over the years, Dan Valentino, Jake Scanlon, everyone who's been involved with the shows to help us out because they give us the room, for free. They donate the room for us to do the show. Um, and then so that we could really raise a really good amount of money. The bands just pretty much they're all local Long Island bands, and they either don't take anything or just suffer gas if they have people from coming from out of state. And it's just been really a really nice thing that we've gotten to do, and we always try to get everyone in. I remember one year because it was just tickets at the door. The line was like around the block, over there in Amityville, and, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, "Oh my god, this is, like, a thing now. Alright, cool." I think that was, like, the 4th or 5th one, and, it's just great to be able to do this and to really, really, help out those who need it at the end of the year.
That's awesome, man. I think there's something to like being I think there's something like virtue if you're like genuine virtue if you're in a place of any kind of power, like helping people, helping others. I think people latch on to that and need that. We need more of that. We need more positivity. There's a lot of fucking
But
bad shit, a lot of crazy
yeah,
shit going on.
that's one of the aspects of the hardcore community that kinda has kept me here all this time, and, I see as, like, an important, I guess, tenet of it is just the the willingness to give and help others, who you might not know. It's been great to see, and it sucks to have to see it, but like GoFundMe's for people who need operations or their houses get destroyed in a fire or bands lose their trailer or stuff like that, and to see, enormous sums of money get raised in such short amounts of time to really get people back on their feet, from strangers, from fans, from, you know, peers and other people in the community. It's a really amazing thing to see. And it's such a huge piece of the hardcore puzzle, I would say.
Absolutely. That's and I mean, there's also a lot of bands who are, what's interesting? I said this a bunch of times. There's obviously there's people who use their power or whatever. They're a negative band or whatever, but I still think heavy people in heavy music, hardcore metal, whatever it is, I find that people are more kind and genuine than like maybe like a jam band, like, or I don't know. I don't mean to talk shit about a jam. I'm just saying I think there's something to be said there. Why is that, Derek? What do you think? I feel like we've every time we talk to someone in some crazy heavy, you've seen their shows. It's fucking pylons, keep people killing
Yeah,
each other. Dan
I
is like the sweetest dude.
I think it's in most scenes, but it's the most stark difference of like perception from hardcore metal, and like it's like everybody from the outside, you're like everybody's just beating the shit out of each other. It's loud,
Uh-huh.
they're screaming, and then when you actually talk to them, and they're like just really sweet, nice, mellow people. I think
Mhm.
that's like the biggest kind of shock for people to be like, oh, these guys are nice. They give back. They have like the community is so strong. And I think beating the shit out of each other makes the community kind of strong. Like in a sense, like with your boys when you're growing up, like I don't know, like you get bored and like you hit each other with wiffle ball bats, like for fun.
Right, exactly,
It's just
exactly. You play tackle football with your friends in the field, when you're
exact.
11.
You get that bond of like, okay, like we're cool. Like I know you're
Yeah,
you're capable of hurting me and me you, but like we're not going to do it with malintent
right,
and have
right.
stronger
This is this is
together.
this is just a game. This is
Yeah,
only a game. Yeah.
exactly.
You are you're also doing video film kind of stuff as well, right?
Mhm.
Um, what are you doing a lot of like music videos now, or do you want to maybe
Um,
like promote that? Because I know that I know everyone's looking for some sick videos nowadays.
oh,
Take
cool,
me
cool.
through that process when you're not on tour, you're making videos.
Yeah, well, I'm not on tour a lot, so there's that. Most of the time I'm not on tour, but, I started, I've always been really interested in shooting video, whether it was my own stuff or just band stuff that I was doing. I made a couple of silly, shows, shorts with my brother and our friends, towards the end of high school, early college stuff. And then I majored in, like, uh, critical film theory in college. That was, like, my thing, but, like, it was, like, tied to mass media. Um, and, it's just something I always liked doing, and then in 2022, I was let go from my office job. And after about a year of aggressive job searching and cover letters and applications and all this stuff and getting, like, 0 callbacks even with homie hookups and stuff like that, I was just like, "Alright, I'm running out of unemployment," and I my kids too, we have a mortgage, I have car insurance, lights I gotta keep on, and food in the fridge we gotta get. I'm just gonna lean into all the things that I love doing, that I'm good at, and one of those is gonna hit. So, um, a buddy of mine got me on the crew on some Hallmark movies. I was just, regular PA type stuff, but it was enough that the director liked me and called me back for a few more. Um, and then another one of my friends got me to work on an A24 movie over in Brooklyn. Um, and then another friend of mine, my friend Ron at Freshly Cut Film, he had started to get more on his plate. We had been working in circles together for a while. He DJs at a couple of places. He also shoots film and he shoots video and photography and stuff. I said he needed help, so he called me in on a couple of jobs, and I've been working with him since the beginning of this year. I've worked with a band called Exhale here on Long Island. I shot a music video for them and did a couple of promotional videos for them. I mean, like, I enjoy shooting and editing video. Um,
Yeah. Where can we find you?
it's Hammertime Media .net, and then also Hammertime Media on Instagram. You can see like all the stuff that I've been working on is I've been putting up there. I
You
work
could also
with
have you could also have real quick, you could have an
Mhm.
OnlyFans called Hammer Time as well.
Yes, I could.
I
Yeah,
feel like
you
that would
know.
be appropriate for you.
Oh yeah, no, it would. It's a discussion I've had with the missus a couple of times before. I was like, listen, we could free. We fine.
Why is it so hard to pull that trigger?
I care about stuff. Care about.
Oh, that's so lame.
Yeah, I know.
You know what you
But
could start with? Just feet first.
it's a damn, man. I've been told I have the feet of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. And the thing is, like, I wouldn't even ask you to show them here because you can't give that away for free.
Ah, that's preebies, man. Come on. What is this?
We'd have to blur it out.
Yeah, like,
I've
that's
seen that sometimes, just even on Instagram, like you're scrolling and then like you just see someone have like they're on the beach and their feet are
mhm,
blurred out. And
blurred,
I'm not
yeah.
a feet person, but I want to know, all right, that's fucked up. Now I want to see.
Oh, well, there's a whole thing. Brendan had this theory, which turned out to be true. If you go to any picture of a celebrity and you only need to scroll once till you find someone a comment, let me see them feet. Dead serious.
No way.
Or if you go to a picture of a celebrity and their feet are out, one scroll, those toes are fire. Like you will see something about that. It's a crazy phenomenon, but it's true. So that's probably why it's
All right,
blurred
we'll
out.
have to add that into our show, Andy. At all the venues, we'll have to have you walk through barefoot, and we'll blur them out for TikTok. Toes at shows.
Yeah, if you support tour buds, then maybe you could see the toes, baby. We'll see
Man,
what
that's for the
happens.
Patreon. That's for the Patreon. Come on.
That's right. We got a paywall for the toes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Derek, you have good feet too, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, one's got a tattoo on it, so we could probably do okay.
That's yeah. I would not do I wouldn't tattoo my feet. That seems like it hurts. I mean, tattoos
I have
generally.
the tops of the tops of both of mine done.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, they all hurt. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
People are always like, "Oh, yeah, it's not." It's like it fucking hurts.
No, see, I have one. I got one. I have my arms. It's not a bit, but like then I have one leg tattoo, and I just died. And I was like, I'm never doing anything below my schwaz ever again.
Yeah,
Never.
my
That's
Ever.
why you got
worst
the
is
well,
my
you got the tramp
ankle.
stamp. You got the dolphin jumping over the,
Yeah,
crescent moon.
that's exactly what I have. How did you know
You
that I
showed it
have
to
that?
me that time.
I did. um, Dan Lomeli, you've said it all. I don't even know. Like you are the kindest, most lovely guest, and I think that you're amazing.
No,
I
thanks.
only want the best things for you and Incendiary because you guys fucking rock.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging with us. It means a lot to me. It means a lot,
Of
Derek.
course.
I know that.
Thanks,
Derek
No,
man.
would
no,
be
I had,
like,
This is great. I was very excited to talk to you today. Yeah, I know
oh, cool.
Andy's had the privilege of knowing you, but you know,
Mm,
yeah. You know what? I
oh,
do. I think the last time I saw you was at that Misery Signal show in Brooklyn.
mhm. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Dan Valentino
That's
was like,
that's another band, becoming like, Stu from, Comeback Kid is also in Misery Signals, like, we got offered to do, like, a leg of that final Misery Signals tour, and we just couldn't do it.
no way.
you're gonna
What?
make Andy
Dude,
cry.
that's my favorite band of all time. Why?
You know?
You guys could have done you could have done that tour.
I
That little leg.
I if it wa this there was scheduling lots of scheduling things, and we couldn't make it happen. Sucked,
It's
but
crazy.
what are you gonna do?
Dude,
Yeah,
I would have sang or something. I would have made it happen, dude.
There was multiple parties involved, it would've been incendiary, half the calories, none of the fun.
But dude, that band means so much to me, and
We listen to of Malice constantly in the van. That's like number one rotate. That and Real Big Fish are the two most rotated records in the Incendiary van all time.
that brings a joy to my heart and a
What show?
tear.
What show? The second show you saw him in Brooklyn? Because
It
I
was
went.
at the
Was
There
was
was
that
two.
Monarch. The Monarch.
Yeah, me and you went. I went with you, Andy, to the first
Not
one.
the last. It wasn't their last show.
The second.
Went to
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
with
that
the war
show, dude, that show got fucking nuts because people were. I like seeing people go nuts for Misery Signals because they're actually like a technical jazz band, and you don't see that too often. So when I see a good crowd, it makes me so happy. And Valentino and his giantness was like right in front of me, kind of like protecting me, and I felt. Like, I'm the oldest in my family, but every time I'm around him, I feel like he's like my older brother, like my big bro. And it was nice. It was nice to see you there. Like anytime I see you around, it feels very like home. Like I said, anyone who's been in a band or travel, like you feel like we know each other. It's so familiar, that lifestyle. And it's interesting. I want you guys to maybe tour a little bit more though. For me. I want to see that. But you guys, you did that audio tree though. That's a sick get too. Who gets all
Yeah.
your stuff? Is it a manager, booking agent?
Yeah. We have
You don't have to do your own
manager.
booking.
Not anymore. It got to be a lot. We did it ourselves up until this record, up until Change came out. Like
In
the
fact,
rollout, the beginning to that. Yeah, the beginning to that and the rollout of that record is when we finally got like the manager guy and the guy who books the shows and the guy who handles, like the interviews come through this guy and he tells us when we're going to do it, stuff like that.
Right. How's the booking agent like it when you turn down Misery Signals? Is he okay with it? Or he gets
yeah. The
He
it's
just
this
knows.
guy Max. He gets it. Yeah, he knows.
Maybe you could help us get Carl and Jesse on at the same time. That'd be sick. That'd be a get. I don't know how we would fit them in the screen. But yeah. That's my favorite band, Dan, and that pains my heart, but it also brings me joy that you were selected. You were like a chosen one. Do you know I would have bet, you know how many times I've fantasized that since I was a kid of being a chosen one with Misery Signals? I would have done most things to tour with them. Most. I would never say anything.
The strategies seem to be working. You guys are fucking killing it. So
yeah, Dan, love you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank
Dan
you. Thank you for
Lomeli,
having me on.
everyone.
This was great.
Dan Lomeli,
Come say hi.
drummer extraordinaire. Was there anything else that you want to promote? Video I know that you promoted. Hammer Time.
Hammer Time Media. Danny_Hammer on most things, and come say hi. You message me or whatever. Wouldn't mind talking. It's cool.
Dan, real quick before you leave, are these aliens? What's going on right now? What the hell's going on? You have some time since you're a full-time artist. Are you looking into all these orbs? And
I think it's just how you see like 50
drones.
kids riding wheelie bikes down the street. It's like that except with drone pilots.
That's sick.
I think they're just trolling everyone.
Love it. Thank you for your take. Everyone, Dan doesn't think it's anything but just a bunch of kids. I love that take. It's the best one I've heard yet. It's like the most PG. Everyone's like, they're nuke sniffing technology. Or it's like, I heard one yesterday that blew my mind. It was so amazing that it was like the government lost control of this super high-tech AI, and that's what's happening right now. Like they're all like just AI.
Yeah. It's like, it is. Nothing surprises me anymore. Tell me what it is. I don't care. It's just I don't care.
They just mush all news together into one story.
So nuts. It's just so nuts. Everything's so crazy.
Aliens.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I know we've taken up your time. You have a whole family and a dog. I appreciate you. Dan Lomeli, everyone. from Incendiary. We love them, and thank you. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Share with your grandma, your mom, your sister, your brother, all of that stuff. Your pastor, your priest, or if you go to some Buddhist temples, share it there. The show, we need you, and we love you. We accept everyone. We love everyone. Come one and come all. I am your host, Andy Love, and I'm with Derek Garabedian. Hi, Derek, and goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks, Dan. Later.